Hey YouTubers, a friend of mine, brother in Christ, Sulcum, asked me about how many bases did I have, so I thought I'd do a quick video on this about how many bases I had. Going out to Sulcum on YouTube, and this is Scotty. Scotty the Deep Grooving bassist, but here's a rundown on my equipment. So, I have 5 bases Sulcum. I have one uh, SDGR 5-string bass. Here it is. That's a good bass. Uh, it's more on the jazz side. Okay. The next bass I got, my silly cat down here. She's that's old Clo. The next bass I got is an Epiphone Les Paul Special. Okay. It's a 4-string bass. It's a nice bass. I really like that bass also. I like all my basses. Here's a Squier, a Squier Fender Jazz bass. It's a classic vibe. It's one of the better ones. But so, and the way you can tell it's a classic, one of the ways you can tell it's a classic vibe, it's just got them Duncan design pickups in it. If you can see that, let me pick that up so you can see it. So, it's a beautiful bass. I love it. I just, like I said in that video, I got to get that fret leveled out. And frets come loose and everything. It's natural on a lot of basses. I mean, for that to happen as much as you play them. Here is my big boy PV amp. It's over 400 watts, a TKO amp. Here is a Squier, a Fender Squier Precision Jazz bass. Okay. And it's got the jazz bass pickups on it. Clark, you're gonna have to get out of the way, honey, buddy. Yeah, there you go. It's got the jazz bass pickups on it. It's a pretty bass. Get it out here where you can see the. I mean, it's got a beautiful color to it. It's got that reddish black in it. And the single coil or single pickup down at the bottom is the jazz. The double coils at the top are the precision part of it. So and it's a classic vibe also. And if you're gonna buy a Squier bass, they are cheaper bass and price. You can get a regular Squier bass for cheap, and it's still a good, decent bass. But if you move up to the Squier Classic Vibe basses, you actually get a lot better bass guitar. I'm talking a really good bass guitar, still for a decent price. Okay, here is my Fender. My American Fender Precision Jazz or Precision Bass, American made, and it's a beautiful bass. It sounds amazing. I'll try to do a video on it with it next time when I get it out. It's that sunburst tobacco with the tortoise shell pickup, or pick guard I mean. So there it is. But yeah, I love his bass. I mean, it's awesome. But it is an American. It's a USA bass, made in USA. So it's got flat wound Ibanez flat wound strings on it. And another sweet baby of mine is this SDGR Ibanez six string. I mean, it is a beautiful bass. Move Chloe. Kitty cat, she's something else. I tell you that. Oh, Chloe's something else. Okay, this is this Ibanez. It's a SDGR Ibanez six string. This is a beautiful bass. I mean, it's the woodwork in it. I love the way it looks in the woodwork. But it's a beautiful bass. And I'd say once I really start playing the bass, like my oldest brother, if I ever can get anywhere a quarter of where he was in his bass playing, I'm not even asking for halfway near him, even a quarter way near him. I'd be totally ecstatic. I mean, it'd blow my mind to be that good. But once I get to that, to being right there, I'd say this would probably be the bass that I would like playing a lot. It's just, I mean, it's an awesome bass. I love it. And I'll do it on a video. But it sounds great. But I like all my basses. What I got. I love what I got. I'm proud of it. But I am thankful for what I have. I really am. I'm very thankful to the good Lord that He's allowed me to have what I have. Without Him, I wouldn't have anything. I'm thankful for my wife. She's very gracious to me. She lets me do sometimes things that I want to do. She don't really care for me to do, but she don't fuss about it. But I try to pray about stuff before I do it, and to say how this works out. None of these basses are brand new. I got 2 or 3 of them in pawn shops. I go in pawn shops a lot, and I'll find basses in there somebody's gotten took and pawned off. I'll go in there and I'll see it, and I'll get a decent price on it, walk out with it. The other ones I bought used. Everything I bought used. So, and I've gotten good deals on them. This stuff has been took care of, but it was used. So, and that's how I got, none of my stuff is brand new. None of it is. The only thing that is new is this little guy right here. It's a Fender Rumbler 25 bass amp, and I did buy it brand new. Ordered it offline, but that's the only thing I have that is brand new. Everything else has been used and traded in. They've either been traded in a local music store, and they was on sale at the local music store used, and I bought them, or I either found them in a pawn shop where somebody pawned them off and never did go back and get them, and the pawn shop put them up for sale, and I got it there. But the reason why I bought this little Fender Rumbler 25 bass amp new is because it does offer me on the top the little jack I can put my plug in off an Android or iPhone or iPad or a G-Pad, Android pad or something, or a CD or something. You can plug a CD player. You can play Pandora through it, Spotify through it. You can play recordings through it off your phone, off your iPad, whatever. I mean, you can play it through that amp, you know. And I really do like that about it, because I pull up a lot of Pandora music and listen to Pandora through it sometimes, and Spotify through it sometimes. And the church music I recorded on my phone, and that gives me a way to play it from my phone to through the amp, so I can have a little bit more volume, because the phone doesn't play, loud enough sometimes. But anyway, and so come you asked about how many basses I have. Five bass guitars and 2 amps. Well, actually 3 amps. One of them I'm working on right now. It's my oldest brother's amp, a Lab Series 2, by Gibson. It was the guy back in the 70s and 80s that created the big keyboard synthesizer stuff. The keyboard started coming out, and all the little sounds and electronic clicks and all that stuff they started coming out with, the drum beats and all that stuff the keyboard actually started coming out with. The guy that created all that on this keyboard made that Lab Series 2 bass amp. He designed it. It's not a keyboard amp. It is a bass amp. But the man that designed and created all the effects in the keyboard and stuff is the guy that designed and created the Lab Series 2 bass amps. So they come in 2 different parts. They come with a compressor amp head and a speaker box cabinet. So, but I'm trying to get it cleaned up and get it worked on. But man, I'm glad you asked about that. It made me happy, somebody asking personal questions. I mean, I'm here if anybody has any more questions. Okay, anybody needs to ask anything, if I can answer it, I surely will. But God bless you guys. Have a good day, and Merry Christmas to everybody. Have a happy and Merry Christmas. God bless you and your family. All right, bye.